Hello there, people from YouTube. How you doing? Hope you're alright. I'm Alex. Welcome back to my channel. And today we're here to talk about Loki season 2. And yes, it's been like almost a week since it came out, but I didn't have Wi-Fi. We got Wi-Fi yesterday, and the first thing I did today was watching the episode. So let's start talking about it. First of all, I want to say that I liked how the episode started. I actually liked the general mood of it, and I really hope they won't mess it up like they did for basically almost all of the TV show. I liked Loki season 1, even if it wasn't my favorite. My favorite still today is WandaVision, but I started to like Loki more and more through the years, and the comics helped, and I love his character, not only in the movies because Tom Hiddleston, but also because of the comics, and he is a really cool character. I'm really glad that they had this little recap at the beginning of the episode, because I didn't really remember how season 1 ended, and I didn't have enough time to watch it again before season 2 came out, because I was busy before leaving, and I took a plane last week, and like I said, didn't have Wi-Fi until yesterday, so it took me like a little to get to it, but I finally got to it, and I'm really happy. Like I said, they had this recap to remind me a little bit of what happened in the last episode. And here we see how this episode started right where the last episode of season 1 ended. We see Loki being kicked in this portal by Sylvie, and he finds himself back in the TVA where Mobius is, and they look at each other, but Mobius doesn't recognize him. Mobius and other guards start to chase him, and he starts to run away, and while he looks around him, he sees these giant statues of Kang. It's basically everywhere in the TVA. Like, we see this huge city that reminded me a lot of a Star Wars city, with the flying cars and all that, and the buildings that were a lot like Star Wars ones, in my opinion. At least that's what reminded me. And yeah, we see Loki running around, and at some point he jumps in this kind of like a postal car, and they break into a window, and Loki finds himself in the control center of the TVA and sees this guy that he knows, tries to talk to him, but this guy doesn't remember him, so he understands that something's wrong. And we can also see it because there's this old monitor hanging from the ceiling, and we see it landing on the floor and making a huge crack on it. And at this point is the first time where Loki glitches, and after the glitch, Loki finds himself back in the control center, but this time the guy he was trying to talk to recognize him, and he sees the same crack on the floor that happened before the glitch, and he understands that something's wrong, and he's probably time traveling. Loki in the present line tries to look for Mobius because he wants to talk to him and needs to tell him what's happening, but it seems like he can't reach him at all. They are this far apart from one another, but seems like he can't reach him. And we see that happening when Loki glitches again the second time, when Mobius and B-15 are called by the TVA Council. Loki's right behind them, tries to reach for them and call for them, but he glitches again, and he's transported again in the past, and he finds himself in this big room. It's an empty room, and he finds himself there, and when he looks around, he notices that on the wall for him there's this statue, not exactly a statue, but this art with 5 faces, and they are basically the face of Kang, and we see one face in the front and the other four faces are turned like in profile, and to me it looked like they wanted to imply that Kang is there and he sees everything, and it doesn't matter where he turns, he sees you. That was pretty cool. And in that moment, in the same room but in the present, Mobius and B-15 have this talk with the council where they try to explain to them what happened and how the timeline is basically messed up because Kang is dead, and they try to explain to them how they were all controlled by him. And they also made them listen to a recording that Loki did in the previous season where he actually explains how people in the TVA have been controlled by Kang the entire time, and what they always known has been alive for their entire life. And at this point, Loki glitches again, and he finally is in the exact timeline that Mobius is. So it's basically finally where he wanted to be, and we see him talking to Mobius and trying to explain to him what is happening to him and how he's traveling in time by these glitches. And Mobius tries to calm him down. They exit the room, and Mobius wants to ask for help to Miss Minute, but Loki tells her that Miss Minute has been working for Kang, so Mobius decides to repair their time pads. In order to do that, they go to something that looked to me like a basement or something, like a really remote place in the TVA, where we finally meet Obi, this character that got my attention since the moment I watched the first ever trailer they released, and I was so curious to meet him because he looked super cool and super funny, and I was not disappointed when he started to interact with Loki and Mobius. Anyway, this is probably my favorite scene from the entire episode, where they try to explain to Obi that it's actually possible to time travel inside the TVA, while they always thought that it wasn't, but apparently it is. He doesn't believe them, even if in that exact moment he sees it with his eyes, because Loki glitches again and he finds himself in the past, like with a really different version of Obi. And yeah, like they interact, and while Loki talks to Obi from the past, new memories are created in the Obi from the present that's talking to Mobius, and they're basically trying to put together something that will help Loki stop glitching and time traveling. And in order to do that, the OB from the past needs to create the machine, basically, because we know from the OB from the present that he doesn't know how to. So it's a little bit complicated, but it makes sense while I was watching the episode. So yeah, it was really funny to see this back and forth from OB from the past and OB from the present talking to two different people about the same thing. And when Obi actually realizes that he has this thing they need for Loki to stop glitching, because past him saved it for future self, they can finally start their plan. In order for the plan to work, Loki needs to go and kill one of his variants in the timeline, and at the same time Mobius has to connect the thing that Obi built to this machine in this really like radioactive bridge. And the opening of the door that led Mobius to this bridge reminded me a lot of the X-Men Cerberus thing, when we have this opening and then you have Professor X go to this thing where he can see different places. So that reminded me a lot of that. Before Loki has to leave, Obi gives him this timer thing and tells him that when the light turns green, that's the moment he needs to kill his variants, and he has only 5 minutes from the moment the light turns green to do it. And if he won't do it, he will be lost in time. They're getting ready to start the plan, but at this point, Loki glitches again for the last time and finds himself in the future. We know it's the future because in a scene before we've seen Mobius writing skin on the side of this screen, and Loki is in the same room, in the same spot he was, but in the future because he sees the word skin on the screen, and he understands that he time traveled again. So he basically runs out of the room and notices that the timeline is messed up because like they probably didn't the plan didn't work. So yeah, he starts running to look for one of his variants to kill it and to his time. So yeah, he is running, and a lot of people are running in the TVA trying to save themselves. Is stopped by the ringing of a phone. Then the scene changes and we go back to Mobius and how he's trying to wait for Loki to come back, because at the same time the light on the timer turned green. So yeah, like Mobius is waiting for Loki to come back. He doesn't want to go back without him, but Obi needed to save the timeline, so he closes the door pressing this red button, and Mobius starts to run to save himself, even if he doesn't want to because he wants to wait for Loki. And we go back to Loki in the future and we see this elevator opening in front of him, and he sees Sylvie inside. That's not exactly surprised to see him. And then we see Loki starting to disappear because apparently someone killed him. And I thought, is it possible that the one that killed past Loki is the Loki from the future? I don't know, like someone had to kill him, so maybe future Loki killed past Loki to go back in the present. Does it make sense? I think it does. And we go back to Mobius trying to escape from the radiation. So he's trying to run on this long bridge, but he can't because it's like, I think the suit he has on is pretty heavy. We see this flash from the timeline and something falling from it and catching Mobius and pulling him with him back inside the room. And we see that Loki was able to do what they planned. So they're both safe and the doors are closed. The scene changes and we see a bunch of TVA army people going through this portal that are probably going to look for Sylvie, because one of the judges at the beginning of the episode where they were talking about the timeline and how they wanted to stop cancel timelines, one of the judges there in the council didn't agree on stopping canceling timelines. And they want to find Sylvie to cancel the timeline where she came from. And this is basically how the episode ends. But we have a post-credit scene, like mid-credit. We see Sylvie in this middle of a field in Oklahoma back in 1982. And then we see her entering this McDonald's and this guy talking to her, asking her what she wants. And she decides to get everything from the menu because like she can now, and her face is so relaxed. It almost looks like she finally can live like a normal life. This is it. So this is how the episode ends. And if you watched it, let me know if you've seen more things or different things, or let me know what you thought about it, if you liked it, what you think. And let me know if you have some theories of what could happen next. I really hope they won't screw it up, because it would be really annoying for them to screw up another one. Like they already did it with a lot of TV shows, but I really hope it won't be the case this time. I know it's like just episode 1 and it happened the same with Secret Invasion. I was so hopeful for it, but it started to go down after episode 3, so I really hope this this one will be the one that makes us all change our minds. Anyway, give this video a like if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel. It would be really cool and would help me a lot. And let me know your thoughts about the episode. And we see each other in a new video. Bye!